I'm live, and maybe you're joining me live, or maybe you're joining me after the fact, just like an asynchronous request. Hello, and welcome, friends, to more live coding with me, Rachel. I'm fairly activated today because I'm giving a talk later on, and it's not done. So, lots of energy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, we're going to be continuing to work on the Dialect quiz bot that we've been working on for a while. And the general idea of the bot is that you'll connect with it. You'll be like, hey, bot, and then the bot will be like, hey, do you want to take a dialect quiz? And you'll be like, sure. And then it'll walk you through a dialect quiz using a form. A Rasa form. For you, it will just feel like a natural conversation. And then at the end, we will do some machine learning to be added at a later point, using your responses and say, hey, we think you're from Detroit, or you speak most like people from Detroit, or, you know, Manhattan, or wherever it is that your dialect, wherever it is in the United States that your dialect has the most similarity to. So that's the idea. What we're working on today is getting it working with Alexa. If you're not familiar, Alexa is Amazon's device framework protocol, I guess. For actually, you know what? I can move myself so I don't cover any of the text. Hey, look at that. Oh my God. Y'all, I just realized I've got a kerchief here. And it is zebra print, and it's green. It's green. It's the same green as my green screen. I did not realize that previously. All right, so we're my gosh darn wizard handkerchief. We are connecting to Alexa, and hopefully today we'll start to get some results. My plan is, I've worked on it quite a bit. If I can't get it working, we will try just to set up a regular, like REST endpoint, and then, at least to have something to talk to. So, the way that we're going to do this is using a custom connector. So I've pulled up the doc page right here. Let's actually make this a little bit bigger and then center it for y'all so you can see a little bit easier. There we go. So the idea is you can connect Rasa, a Rasa bot running on a server to, you know, a number of different services. Many of them we have pre-built connectors for. And I'm trying to remember where specifically that is in the documentation, and my mind right now is a blank slate. I think it's in the deployment section. Yeah. So you can connect to, oh wait, no, it's messaging and voice channels. There we go. So you can connect to a variety of different connectors. So we have built in Facebook Messenger, Slack, Telegram, Twilio, Microsoft Bot Framework, blah, 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 blah. Mattermost actually is one that I just learned about. It's like an open source Slack that you can run locally. So if you have, you know, you need HIPAA compliance or FERPA compliance, or you just want to keep things on-prem, you can use Mattermost for that. Anyway, a thing I learned this week. But we are going to be building a custom one to connect to Alexa. And I've actually been doing quite a medium amount of work off screen. And I got started on building a skill called Dialect quiz. So this is the Alexa developer console, which is different from the AWS developer console. Let's make you a little bit bigger, which is different from the AWS developer console. So you'll need to create your account here separately. And there is a command line SDK that I futzed around with a little bit with minimal success, but those of you who are more familiar with it might have more success. And there's also this online interface. So I created my skill, and you can see that I did that 2 days ago on the 12th. It is now the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate. And wow, this does not scale especially well. And I guess I'll zoom out, and you guys can, I guess, make your screen bigger on the video app that you're using. So there are some things that you need to do to build your skill, and I've already done most of them. The invocation name is how people will launch your skill on an Alexa device or device running Alexa. So in this example, daily horoscopes. Here I'm using Dialect quiz. I might change that in the future. I just want to get it working, and then we'll make it beautiful. Make it work first. So we've set an invocation name. And then I used an example from the forums. So let me see if I can find that example really quick. That someone had shared. So, just like Rasa, Alexa has intents and entities, and you can either define your own intents and entities or use pre-built ones. And I spent a lot of time looking at the various pre-built existing intents, because what I want is not to take the intents from Alexa. I want to take in the raw text and then do my own intent identification and entity extraction. And that way I can have one thing that I maintain across channels instead of having, the Alexa version and, the other version, etc., etc. I'm Alone says, hello, I have a doubt. Me too. Me too. Yeah, this has been a little struggle for me, but feel free to pop it in the chat and maybe I'll know. Post that was, or the post on the forums that was helpful for me. So there was an intent which would work, and if you were finding code samples that use Alexa Listen from a while ago, those will no longer work. If the skill was created before the deprecation, it will work, but it won't anymore. I spent a lot of time reading Alexa docs and forums recently. And there's a number of workarounds that people have worked on. One of them is to use the search query intent. Search action, it might be in standard. And this intent will, it's in here somewhere, will return all of the speech that happens after the query phrase. But you do need the query phrase, which is the problem for me. So I can't just be like, hey, give me all the speech. I'll need to be like, so for let's say getting the speech back for people, what people would say to answer a question, I'd have to have them say, I'd say pillbug, I'd say soda, I'd say y'all every time. And if they didn't say that I'd say part, it wouldn't work. So I played around with that a little bit, and that will work if you have a set carrier phrase that your users will always use. And I did not. Search action, nope, not that one. Anyway, it's in here somewhere. I'm Alone says, how can I contact you through mail? I have a lot of doubts. Please share your mail. The best way is actually probably to post on the Rasa forums if they are Rasa specific, and those are, sorry, with my invisible handkerchief. And the Rasa forums are, I'll just pop up my other, forum.rasa.com, and I am right now looking at Alexa. I think this is the one, yes. Resolve, get problem, API tester, fallback policy. Yeah. Okay, so this was the example that was most helpful for me and that I was able to get working. Sorry for the scrolling sounds. Well, I don't know. Maybe you like the scrolling sounds. So the way that the Yeshwanth. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. That is on me and my ignorance. So this person defined a custom intent called catch-all. A custom entity called catch-all that was the expected return from a custom intent called save intent. And the way that it works is that there's this intent called catch-all. The slot called catch-all. So just like on Rasa, you can define your custom entities and have a bunch of examples, and then it will look for similar examples. And this particular approach is to have examples that are, I can never remember if it's high entropy or low entropy. That's hard to guess. Anyway, basically it's impossible, given that word n is salubrity, to guess that word n+1 is going to be apostasia? I don't know what that means. It sounds churchy, maybe. And that given that you've said salubrity and then apostasia, the next word is going to be phantomized. So these are words where they're always going to have a very surprising word as the next word, which means that the language model will have a really hard time guessing them and will be like, well, I don't know, any of these things could be that thing, is the general approach of why this works, I believe. It's a little bit hacky. But again, there's no sort of built-in way using the Alexa SDK to just get back the transcription and basically use it as a speech API. You can do that much more straightforwardly with the Google speech API, which is covered in Yusta's really excellent tutorial, which I can't find on my first Google. Okay, so that's the idea. And using this definition for the custom slot, you can see here catch-all, which has 20 provided values, which are these sort of extremely unlikely text strings. And a custom intent called save intent, almost all of the text that you enter in that's not navigate home or stop should be identified as this intent save intent. So we can actually evaluate that here. So let's just say stop. And you can see that that's been identified as stop intent. And now let's say I'd like to take a dialect quiz, and this has the intent, save intent, and the slot is text, and it says I'd like to take a dialect quiz, so we can take this and then pass it in to our Razabot. So I'm Alone says, is there any possibility to build a chatbot for a website to answer user queries? That is a good question. The easiest way to do that is, using Rasa X, but there's actually 3 different community implementations that you can use for that. So if you search for Rasa and then your own website, you should get the walkthrough of how to get that up and running. Yeah, good question. Okay, so that part's working. And you can train multiple versions, and as you can see, I've just trained one version because I ended up deleting my earlier my earlier model. So once I used the JSON editor to add in this example code, I then built my model, and then I could evaluate it, and it's working fine. So on this end, that's good. Code is going to be nothing because this is just going to be for an Alexa hosted skill, which again, we're doing the actual skill part on Rasa. And then the test portion. Actually, one sec. Yeah, and you can't have the mic because I need it for... I can't click. I actually have I think that I may have done something wrong. Invocation name, dialect quiz. Okay, that's correct. Intent, save intent, stop by. Okay, I thought I might not have updated the invocation name, but it looks like I did. So my problem right now is that when I go to test, and I can just do that by typing some text. I can say, hello. And then Alexa says, hello, happy Friday, which is today. And I can say, start dialect quiz, and it won't work. I have a few skills that can help. Did you mean science quiz? Nope, never mean science quiz. I also found basketball quiz. Do you want that one? No, I want dialect quiz. So I've gotten to the point where the bot will build, but what it will not do is actually work. Is the struggle that I'm having at the moment. And you can see that it is in development. So it is, by default, it is off, and I had to turn it on, and that worked. In distribution, I don't want to show this to customers right now. It's not done. Certification, I have some endpoints problems, which makes sense. So under build, I want to set my endpoints, which is over here in the menu. And you can see right now that this is pointing to an ngrok.io website. Sorry. Allergies. ngrok.io website. And let's switch over to the code editor. It's small. There we go. Move you over. Let's switch over to the code editor so that we can see the thing that I built so far. So this is also based on the very helpful answer from Yeshwanth, and I used their connector as a jumping off point. So here's the code for the connector. So it's Alexa connector, return, ask me anything Alexa. Actually, I'm going to change this to dialect quiz, because that's what it do. And you can see it has two roots. It has and we talked about this on Wednesday, going over the custom connector that a user had built for their I think Rasa to Echo, I think it was called. So we went through that, and this is a Sanic blueprint, and Sanic is a web framework like Flask, but it's not Flask. I'm drinking decaf coffee because I've got plenty of energy today. So this is a Sanic blueprint, and it's got two endpoints. So like we looked through the custom connector documentation on Wednesday, and we saw that you need two endpoints. You need the slash endpoint and the webhook endpoint, and this is just going to tell you that it's healthy. And then the Alexa webhook root is the sort of the meat of the skill. There we go. So what it does is it is an asynchronous function, so it's going to, wait on something. Dagmar says, no, Shami says, you always have a cold. The US weather doesn't suit her. Yeah, I keep saying I'll go to an allergist, and I keep not going to an allergist. Yeah, one of my allergies is actually being cold, which is the stupidest allergy. But it's not cold enough for it to kick in. Okay, so the payload is the request JSON. So this is going to be a JSON file that we're getting into our skill. And then the payload intent will have a request type. And there are so it's looking at the intent type launch request, which is from Alexa. So if we, sorry. There we go. Sorry, I somehow deleted everything. So nope. Come back. There we go. So the intent type is launch Alexa, which comes from okay, so this is navigate home, actually. I think that is the launch request that comes from the invocation, I believe is where that comes from. And that might be where we are running into problems. Let me just quickly get my all of my windows back up, because they all disappeared when I clicked something I didn't mean to. So when that happens, you're going to get this this prompt that says start by saying hi. And then if the intent is not launch request, if it is stop intent, then we will stop the skill. And if the intent is not stop intent, which will be the third intent, which is save intent here, which is the one which will return all of the text as a custom text, then we will collect the output channel, and R here is information about the skill, and this output speech and reprompt is the same as it was in the other custom skill. So that's what we have so far. And let's quickly run through it in the shell so you can see what I'm expecting to happen. All right, form bot. So we're going to start the action server because the form is a custom action. I'm going to move me. So we're going to start the Rasa run action. So that'll start the server that runs the arbitrary code for the actions. For us, that is the form that collects the information. Elicitation form here, and then also the function that detects dialect, detect dialect here, which at the moment does nothing. It says you're from the US because we haven't added the machine learning component yet. And then we need a second window where we actually, scripts is disabled on this system. This sounds like something where something is expecting to run as root and cannot. I'm gonna ignore it. So now let's run our bot in the shell. So it's starting a Rasa server. So this is the server. So when we're talking with Alexa, we'll have our server running for the moment just on my local machine. I'll deal with other stuff later. So I have the server running on our local machine with the various endpoints. So the endpoints are going to be home and the webhook. Actually, I don't think they are. I think they're going to be something. I think it's going to be like the name of the. I think you actually have to have the name of the specific endpoint. Where did I read that? Okay. URL to which the core will send the bot response. Okay, this is sorry, I'm just remembering something that I was reading in the docs yesterday. I think it was in custom connectors. REST endpoint. Okay, so I think actually I can't just say, localhost and then the endpoint. I think I have to say webhooks and then the name of the service and then the specific endpoint that I'm looking for. Does that sound right? Ravi says, is this console app? So this is VS Code, right? I want to say VB Code, but I think that's just because the first programming language I learned is, VS Code. VisualBasic.net, actually. I would not recommend it as a first, programming language for other people. I'm Alone always says, how does the bot search in the website for user queries? So the way that it would work, and that's actually extremely relevant to what you're talking about right here, is that your server will have specific endpoints. So in this case, I think I know what my problem is, actually. I think we might be able to get this working today in the next half hour. So you will send to a specific endpoint, which is just like a website that doesn't render anything. Like it's a website that's waiting for, a specific input, like a JSON, like this JSON. And then you will have your user, in this case, will do some sort of action that will send information, probably in a JSON format, with the query information to that endpoint. And then the endpoint will run whatever it is you're working on your local server. And then, well, it doesn't have to be on whatever server it is, and then it will send the information back to the user. So it's sort of like, I don't know, it's sort of like using a website, I guess. So that's how you would make it work. If you could also use Rasa X for a GUI, if you didn't want to do it yourself. If you are asking how to do front-end development, I am not the right person. It is, I know I don't have the attention to detail to be an excellent front-end developer. My husband is, actually. He's an Android developer, and like the amount of like loving care and attention he puts into like the shape of buttons is just like not for Rachel. And thank you. So Greg, if you're not familiar with Greg, he is one of the customer success engineers here at Rasa. And he says you would typically call either the REST or WebSocket endpoint from your GUI. Rachel's Alexa integration is using the WebSocket channel. I mean, eventually it will. That's the goal. All right, so let's quickly use our bot. So this is one we're going to expect to happen. I'd love to take a quiz. This is what we'd expect to happen once we are running our Alexa skill, except that I will be putting this input into Alexa. Alexa will be passing it to the server. The server will be running the Rasa code and being like, okay, based on this intent and this entity, this is the next thing. And you can see here is the slot, and then here is the information in the slot for bug, beverage, and second person plural. And once we get this really working, we'll have like 25 slots probably. And we won't tell that back to the user. All right. And then /stop to end this go. So we want that same thing from our what would you call it? When we interact with the bot through Alexa, we want the same thing. The difference is that putting in the text is not going to be done in the command line. It'll be done via Alexa, and then we'll get the stuff back. So, hello, Anarchy. Welcome. So, we have... I'm trying to remember how this is working. So I've been using ngrok, which is a service that takes your local host and basically puts it on the internet for people to interact with. And it is an executable. So I have to remember where in my directory this executable is, because that's how it works on Windows. Okay, so this is just saying, hey, list all the files that are in the directory above where I currently am. So this ... means like go up one level in the tree, if you're not familiar with that. I remember that the first time I saw someone do that, I was like, what are you doing? What does the ... mean? So let's... I'm trying to remember how I've been doing this because yesterday I was working on something else. Let's do run our Rasa server locally. So this is on localhost. It's on 5005. So if I follow this link, you can see that localhost 5005, so just like on my computer, there's this endpoint, and it says hello from Rasa, and then the version 1.7.0, and I think I need to update actually, because I think we're on 1.7.2 right now, so moving fast, cutting patches like a quilter. So I have the server running on that endpoint, and I have the action server running on a different endpoint, I guess. And now I want to run ngrok, which is in the directory above my current directory. Okay. Oh, so I actually need to say what I'm doing. Secure a public URL for the port 80 web server. Okay, so I actually want it to be for the port where my server is currently running, which was 5005. Okay. So, I need to do HTTP 5005. TTP 5005. All right, so I'm using the free service, so you can see that it will expire in 8 hours, and I believe you can only have up to 40 at a time. And if this is something you find useful, you can also pay for it and have more options. Okay, so now when I go to, yes, that's why I clicked on it like that. So now when I go to this URL, you can see that I get the same thing that I got when I went to my localhost. So now this is just my local host being exposed as so it's forwarding this URL to my localhost. And I think, here's the question that I have. If I go to webhooks, what did I call it? Is it Alexa connector or connector Alexa? Let me go back to the custom connectors. So what I've been trying to figure out is how to actually, like, what my endpoint is the thing that I have been struggling. If your component is named myIO, the name method defines the URL prefix. Okay, so the name method, which is dialect quiz. All right. And I've lost my I've lost my window that has the thing in it. So I guess we'll I lost the other one. Okay. It would really be great if I could do it by window, but because I believe VS Code is running as a Chrome server. Okay, so there we go. I got my custom connectors back. Excellent. So slash webhooks, and then the name of my, I'm going to pull them over here and not click out of them, and the name of my thing, which is dialect_quiz, and then webhook. Method get not allowed, and that makes sense because the only method that we have defined is in here somewhere. Webhook root is get post. Okay. Okay. I think this might work. Okay. So this is the URL that's going to be waiting for our Alexa input, and we'll send the output back. So I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to go back to the Alexa developer console. And here, get bigger. And here in endpoint, we can say and you can see I had one yesterday that was different. We can say the specific endpoint that we want. URL is not URI. Universal Resource Indicator, I guess, is not in the correct format. Okay, so I think it wants a HTTPS, which luckily has also been provided for us. So if we add an S, yeah, all right. So what this is saying is, hey, this is the website that you go to. And if you were hosting it somewhere else, you'd put like the website of where you're hosting it here instead of this randomly generated ngrok thing. And then save the endpoints. And that endpoint is connected to the server that I'm running locally. So hopefully now when I go to test, it'll work. Okay. Hi. Hi there. Let's make this big. And let's move me out from in front of it. Dramatic reveal. Start. Dialect quiz. Please work. Please work. Please work. Please work. No. Okay. Well, that did not work. Exciting times for me. I did not mean science quiz. Oh, that's right. It won't go unless you have the build. Okay. Let me double check that my invocation name is Dialect Quiz. Pretty sure it is. Yeah, it is. Launch, ask, tell, open, load, begin. Do I have to say begin instead of start? That seems awful. Let's try it though. All right. Begin. Dialect quiz. Nope. I don't. I mean dialect quiz. Okay. So this is where I got to on Thursday. And that was yesterday. And that's about as much progress as I've made. So... All right, well, let's first check the host. Let's check the health of the dang thing. Can I get this guy? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so instead of webhook, if we just do this, Git should work for that. Okay, so it is up. It is running. And actually, this is public, so you should be able to actually go to this URL and get the status. It's up. It's running. The endpoints are as defined. This is the endpoint. Wow. It's public. you guys could be able to go here, I mean, for the next, like, 7 hours and 20 minutes, or less if I decide to kill the server early, which I probably will. Ryan says, this is good progress. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Also, look at the hedgehog mug. So my problem now is the Alexa skill exists. It knows that this is the endpoint. It won't go, don't go there. It doesn't work. All right, so I believe that there is, for ngrok, there's a specific endpoint you can go to see, like, the ngrok, there's a specific, thing that you can go to. Yeah, here it is. So if we look at, 127.0.0.1:4040, that will let you inspect the doohickey. And actually, let's put that over there as well, so I don't lose it. So, okay, so you can see that I have 200, okay, everything working here. And this is the get request. And then just like the default works okay. And I believe these are the requests that I have made. So if I reload this, you can see that it's added another row. So these are all the requests. So I can see that none of you are, none of you have taken me up on my generous offer to type in this awful URL and see that you get a 200. Ugh. Okay. And we can see that we had this get error, but this was us. This was us going to that URL. We can see that no requests have been made to this endpoint. So why is Alexa not talking to our open endpoint? Time for a Google. Alexa not connecting to endpoint. Oh, and I'm actually going to say Alexa developer console not test not connecting to endpoint. Whoop. All right. Who else has had this problem? 2018. That's a little old. Let's try this. Test your skill. How to test the skill during development. That is what I would like to do. Ways to test an Alexa skill. Use the utterance profiler to test your custom interaction method, which we've done. So that's the one in the build under, if you look at intents to evaluate model, the utterance profiler. So this is working fine. Happy with that. Use the simulator provided on the test page in the developer console. This gives you access to most Alexa Skills Kit features without a device, which is good because I don't have an Alexa device. You can interact using either voice or text. All right, let's learn more about the simulator. Use the Alexa Skills Kit command line interface to test the skill from the command line. You can test your skill using ask CLI commands such as invoke skill and simulate skill. See Ask CLI Quick Start for more information about managing skills from the command line. Use the skills testing features of the Skills Management API. Minimum configuration, interaction model. Must have a specified invocation skill name. Yes. At least one intent with sample utterances defined in intents. Slot type. Do I have a sample intent? Maybe that's why it's not working. Nope. Yep, the sample intent is anything from this slot text, which will be anything. So that's check. That's a big old check-a-rooney. Custom endpoint, a valid HTTPS endpoint. For minimum, fill in the default region field. We've got an HTTPS endpoint. It's this one. And if you don't believe me, we can HTTPS. And you can see that we went from not secured to the little, oh wow, that's real small. I can't make the header bigger. It's very small that you see this. Greg says, are you using the Socket.io channel or the custom Alexa channel? I believe I'm using the custom Alexa channel. Although I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, Greg. I know Greg's gonna have to dip out at some point at an unspecified time due to other stuff that's going on. Yeah, let's see. Socket.io channels. I'm Googling. How do I know? How do I know if it is? Socket.io room features, dynamic rooms for Socket.io. Everything you need to know about Socket.io. Show your config YAML again. Of course. Okay, so here is, nope, I did not click good. Here is the config. So should I add something to here to say that, hey, Alexa's coming in? I also added username to credentials. I think that's my username. I can't find out how to find my my Alexa developer username. That's just like my name. I don't know if that's helpful. Credentials. Yeah. Here's the credentials. Again, I don't know if this is my username because I spent a long time trying to figure out what the Alexa Developers Kit username was, and it can't, as far as I can tell. It might be my email, possibly. Greg says, that's it. You're using the custom Alexa channel. All right. Does that mean that Greg says, is this a REST or a WebSocket endpoint? That's a good question. I'm assuming because it's REST. Because it has endpoints and states. You can tell that I am a seasoned web developer. All right. Greg says, what's the GitHub URL for that custom Alexa channel? You showed it in the prior session. So I'm actually using a different custom channel here. So this is one that somebody, different custom connector. And this is one that somebody brought up in the forums. Foop, foop, get big. In this thread that is continuing to grow. Yes, so it's Subham Verma. Shared this this SANIC blueprint on the forums. It's Google Alexa connector /60/38. Custom HTTP input channel. I would say this is all code, but it is a little wonkily formatted. So if you're using this, you might want to go through and like you can see the white space is a little bit off in the imports. Yeah. And then Brian had a very helpful reminder here at the bottom as well, that you want to make sure that your skill stops, because you don't want to just leave the microphone on forever, recording and then sending the recordings to people. That seems at best probably ill-advised, and at worst malicious. So that's where I am starting. And it looks like it compiles and runs fine, and the endpoints exist. And I'm assuming that Alexa is treating it as a REST API, but that could be where my problems are coming in. Yeah. Account linking, permissions. So I'm going to keep going through the minimum configuration and see if there's maybe something that I messed up here. Okay. You can do any of the following. Build your skill as a web service and host it on your own endpoint. So that's what we've done. We have not hosted it on Lambda. We've hosted it on our own web point. Doop. All right. Requirements for your web service. Must be accessible over the internet. Must accept HTTP requests on port 443. Oh, the sun's out. Sorry, I was like, I saw something on my face and was like, what the heck is that? That is sun, my friends, in this Seattle. Okay, yeah, no, it's accepting things on 4.3. Greg says, I'm trying to hit this endpoint. Yeah, let me know if you can get that to work. I think it should. Again, motion web development is not what I would call my core competency. But what that means is that when we write this tutorial, it is going to be extremely accessible. Okay, check. Service must support HTTP over SSL TLS using an Amazon trusted certificate. Right now I'm just using a self-signed certificate, and it does seem to be working. The service must verify the incoming requests from Alexa. For more information, see verify the request was sent by Alexa. So this could be the problem, but it's not hitting the endpoint at all. Let's see if this is you, Greg, you are successfully hitting the endpoint. It looks like. Let's try posting something. And this is going to be rough to watch because, as I have discovered, there is a curl method in PowerShell. So curl is like a way to like move information, I guess is the simple way to put it. But it is not actually curl. It's an alias. So curl PowerShell. And Greg says status is working from Postman. Okay, so it looks like the problem is not the website. Not our hosting. Our hosting is working. Greg says trying to get the other endpoints to work. So the endpoints that we should have right now are the Rasa endpoint at just like home, this route, and then the Alexa web points, or the Alexa connector web point. So this one that's just like gives you 200, and then the webhook. Okay, so if you're getting it to work, then I don't think we need to check that the post will work. Ryan says, I don't think it's important, but you left an SSL option blank when you added the endpoint. Oh, all right, yeah, let's try that. That might work. Checking the endpoint. I don't know which of these is true. Actually, I'm pretty sure that this is true because you can see that this is secured, and I would be surprised if there was a separate certificate issued for each of these randomly generated things. So I bet that's true. It feels true. I hope I'm not lying to Amazon. I would prefer not to do that. All right. Saved without errors. The model must be successfully built for changes to take place. Hold up. Is this the problem? Do I need to rebuild every time I change the endpoint? Quick build in progress. Yes. Possibly this is the fix. Hopefully, because we have 4 minutes. And I cannot go long today because I have to finish my talk. It is, in case you were wondering, at the American Academy of Sciences meeting in Seattle, and I will be talking about sociolinguistic variation in automatic speech recognition and machine learning approaches that people are taking to help to mitigate. So this says, full build successful. If you make any new changes, you will need to rebuild your model for them to take effect. All right. Is this gonna work? Is it gonna work? Hi. Yeah, I know you can't use my microphone. I'm using it. Sunshine in Seattle. Start dialect quiz. Please work. It works! Hey! Ryan, you were absolutely correct. I needed to... It works! I'm sorry. I've spent so long on this. Yeah, heck yeah. I need to zoom out, or otherwise you're not going to be able to see the whole thing. Let's start a dialect quiz. Let's see if it works. Hi. Hello, this is Dialect Bot. Hello, Dialect Bot. I should get another utterance after this. All right, okay, so I think the quick fix there is I just bump that into one utterance because it looks like it will not do 2 utterances before user input. That's easy to fix. Heck yes. Oh my god. Okay, and the form is working, which means that our action server is working. Ryan says, I think it might have been the build and not the SSL. It might have been both. Possibly. Let's call it Coke. I was going to say Coda. That's nothing. That is something. It's just not a beverage. Maybe it is a beverage. Oh my god, it's working. I'm the web developer now. All done. All right. Are you gonna finish the... All right. And then stop. Okay, so there's clearly problems. Alexa's not gonna take multiple utterances in the row from us. It works. We did it. Holy crap. I genuinely did not think that this was gonna work. Ravi says, I know she pretends to be a problem. Ravi, I genuinely appreciate your faith in me. But this was not it. This was not pretend. This is very much something that I've been struggling with. All right, it works. Fantastic. I am beyond delighted. I have to finish my slides for the talk that I'm giving at 3:30. Thank you so much for your help, Craig. And everybody, your moral support was worth more than you know. It works. Okay, we clearly have some work to do to make it work appropriately, and also there's a sunbeam in this, Seattle. I will see you on Wednesday, everybody, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have the data by then, and we can actually make this, like, cool and useful. But if not, it looks like we do have a little bit of like tweaking to make this a little bit more amenable to how Alexa is expecting skills to be set up. And also, enormous shout out, big ol' shout-a-rooney out to on the Kaggle user forums, Shivam. You saved my life. Thank you so much. Yeah, it works. Excellent. Fantastic day today. I'm feeling really good about myself, and I am looking forward to making this more fun to use. So I will see you all on Wednesday, unless you're coming to the American Academy of Sciences meeting, in which case I will see you in a couple hours. And have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and if you're in the United States, enjoy your, hopefully you have a 3-day weekend for President's Day, and I will see you on Wednesday. Thanks for joining. Bye!